Thank you for joining. If you're watching the videos, we sure appreciate it. We're Cyber Church of Christ. We use the King James Version. We've got a fairly serious topic today. It's called tradition. We've been looking at traditions and ordinances, commandments, statutes, that kind of thing here lately. And so anyway, tradition is kind of the boss of the bad guys here. So we want to look and see exactly what is tradition, what makes a tradition. Let's just start off here with a lot of questions for tradition. What is the source? Like, how do you even come up with a tradition? Who makes a tradition? And what is that talking? Are you talking about like playing the national anthem at a game? No, I'm talking about tradition out of the Bible. So today's lesson doesn't have to do with the traditions that we have in society. We're talking about in the Bible. How does the tradition get into the Bible? Where did that come from and all? Well, the answer, simple answer, what's the source of a tradition? When does it even exist? Because it's a shared opinion. So the answer is a shared opinion. That's how I got a tradition. All right, we'll get, and you found that in Google? No. These are definitions that I come with based on 40 years of teaching and learning Bible. Now, let's look at this a minute. I got it highlighted here. The source. You asked about what is the source of a tradition, right? Okay, well, here's the source. An idea of how to please God is not found in the Bible. I had a good idea, we ought to do this, but I didn't see it in the Bible. Okay. This idea is formulated into an opinion. So now I have an opinion. I'm working on this opinion, and I had an idea. Now the idea has come to life, and I've formed an opinion. Now, what are you going to do with this opinion? This opinion then is agreed to and shared by multiple people. Man, you know what? I like your idea that you came up with. I'm glad that you formulated an opinion from that idea. You know what? I share that opinion. Yeah, I think that's a real good idea. And not only that, I got a bunch of people that share this opinion. Okay, well, did y'all look at this not found in the Bible? Well, yeah, because if you told me getting baptized is an opinion, no one would say, well, that's not an opinion of the church. It's a commandment. And I can show you where the commandment is. I found that in the Bible. Okay, so what, the commandments aren't traditions? No, I go into the Bible and find it, find out it's a commandment from God, and it's in the Bible, but then there's no way that's a tradition, because even when Moses came down with the 10 Commandments, there were no traditions. They just had these 10 Commandments on a tablet. All right, so here's what happens is, I couldn't find it in the Bible, but it's a real good idea. And with this real good idea, what I've got now is a real good opinion. Okay, and this real good opinion is shared. I got a bunch of people that agree with me on that. Okay, so now that we've shared it, what do we want to do? Well, what I'm wanting to do next is the shared opinion becomes commonplace and is practiced. Such a good idea, all of us agree, we might as well go ahead and implement this thing. It's an opinion that becomes commonplace. I mean, we do it every day, or we do it every week. Usually when people have this quote unquote religion, it's usually for Sunday, but they'll take their religion with them in their thinking. Well, here's what we got is a shared opinion, and we're practicing this shared opinion. Okay, and then what happens after you practice the shared opinion? Well, then the practiced opinion becomes a tradition and evolves and I could have used the word devolve into doctrine. Oh, well, how is it that the doctrine that you're looking at is not found in the Bible? Well, because I had this idea, and we made an opinion, and then everybody embraced the opinion. And then we said, okay, well, let's go ahead and make that, implement that in our religion here. And that'll just be part of our doctrine. Okay, so you're talking about your doctrine has things in it that are not found in the Bible. They're actually just an opinion that's become a tradition. Yeah, that's what's happened. And that's okay with you? Well, it's not okay with Cyber Church of Christ. You know what we're going to do? We're going to look at 1 Peter 3:15 and go, hey, you're supposed to prove all things, aren't you? No, 1 Peter 3:15 says to give an answer. Well, I know, but to give the answer, I got to be in the Bible to give the answer, don't I? Yeah. Okay, so we're going to have to give it an answer here. And this answer we're going to show you in the Bible. Why? Because we're Cyber Church of Christ. We don't do tradition. We don't have an idea that's not in the Bible, not found in the Bible. We don't have opinions. They go, what's the church's opinion? And we don't have an opinion. It's either in the Bible or it ain't. And you guys, share this? Yeah, we have a shared opinion and we have a tradition in our church. Oh, okay. So as soon as you said the word tradition, I already know there ain't a scripture. Yeah, right. Okay, so when you said you came up, all right, first of all, you said to enter this building is the first thing. Well, why do you have to worship God in a building? Where is that verse? Well, it's not a verse, it's a tradition that we have. Okay. And then when you get there, there's a guy there, a human being, and he's wearing a ring, and you're supposed to kiss that ring. Okay, where is that verse? Oh, it's not a verse. What happened is that was originally an idea of somebody's. And what they did is they formulated an opinion. You ought to kiss this ring. This looks religious. And then a bunch of people agreed to that. Oh, and said, okay, we'll just make it a tradition. I actually talked to a guy once that was, and I won't say what religion he was in, but he was a preacher guy or claimed to be a preacher. And I said, hey, I teach Bible. And then when I brought up a couple of things that he teaches, he goes, oh, well, we're tradition based. So he didn't, that wasn't even a bad thing. Tradition made, oh, hey, well, yeah, that's good. We got a tradition. People like it. Oh, well, we don't do tradition. We prove all things. Why? Because of the 1 Peter 3:15. You got who has a question, we give them the answer. Why do you got to prove all things? Because it's in 1 Thessalonians 5:21. So here's what we got here. I know I spend a little time on this definition, but I'm trying to make a point here that you just don't make up stuff that's not in the Bible. I don't care how many multiple people you got. You got these multiple people that agree with your idea, your opinion, and all of you follow that tradition. Not us, not the Cyber Church of Christ. The church doesn't do traditions. The church has proven commandments. So people embrace embrace the tradition and then teach it as valid doctrine. Now, if you were to look up tradition in the Greek, the tradition word, which is Greek word 3862, which I have right here, you'll see it only says teachings. So traditions, actually, you're teaching something. And why are you teaching me a tradition? Because I couldn't find it in the Bible. You couldn't find it in the Bible. No, but that's what we do. We have traditions that we follow. All right, so I'm going to put here in all caps just for the interested student here. The church rejects tradition for lack of biblical proof. If you look at this 1 Thessalonians 5:21, it'll say what? Prove all things. Oh, So that's the tradition killer right there. Proof. I can prove that's a tradition. How? Because it's not in the Bible. I can prove that's not a tradition. You talking about getting baptized a tradition? No, it's in the Bible. I can prove it and show you the scriptures. Oh, so that's not a tradition. Those are actually commandments we're following. All right, so let's look at this first section. We're going to read some scriptures from Jesus talking. Tradition is something man-made and not proven in the Bible, meaning it is not a commandment. Oh, okay. Well, here's what we got. Matthew 15, 1-3 here. We're going to look at. And what happens is the Jews are running a religion, if you won't call it that, from Moses' law, Levitical law. And they have synagogues and priests and scribes and those that are, experts in the Bible. And in this case being the Old Testament. And what they are is this Jesus guy now is teaching a lot of things, claims to be the Messiah, and he's got a lot of followers. So what we'd like to do is find some type of violation. So what we'll do is say, hey, there's a commandment you're not obeying. And so you ain't what you say you are because you're not obeying our commandments, okay? So anyway, we'll show up. We're not expecting Jesus to come here. So what we'll do here is, then came to Jesus. Okay, you guys came to see him. Yeah, scribes and Pharisees. And why did you come to see him? We got a question. Oh, they're from Jerusalem, right? Aren't they from the main synagogue there in Jerusalem? Okay, so they have all the knowledge. We're one of the constituents, and we go ask these scribes something, or we'll ask the Pharisees something, and then they can give us what? Well, there's a good chance they're going to give you an opinion. Oh, an opinion not happening for the hereafter. Oh, that's why we're Pharisees. We believe there's a hereafter. Oh, okay. We needed to prove anything. No, we don't prove anything. That wasn't an Old Testament command. It's a New Testament command. All right, so you guys got a question for Jesus now? And you guys are the main dudes, the chief muckety ducks there. So you're scribes from Jerusalem. All right, so you guys got all kinds of knowledge. All right, so what's your little trick question here for Jesus? Why do thy disciples, well, isn't that a pronoun? This thy thing, isn't that a pronoun of some sort? Yeah, that's Jesus. Okay, so they're not your disciples. Oh, no, not our guys. We looked at your guys. Okay, why do thy disciples transgress? There you go. There's the sin. There's the bad thing right there. Transgression is a sin. So we're not supposed to sin. But you know what your disciples do? They transgress. They sin. Okay, what is it? What scripture are they transgressing? Oh, well, no, I mean, it's the tradition. The elders, see this, elders? That's multiple people, what that is. Well, so you elders came up with this formulated opinion, and now you're calling it tradition. And now you're going so far as to ask, hey, how come Jesus people don't do this tradition we made up? Like what? Well, like washing your hands before you eat bread. Okay, where is that in Deuteronomy or Leviticus? Oh, not in the Bible. But what we have is, and it's a good idea, that multiple people share this opinion, and they all agree that this is a tradition, okay? And the tradition is you have to wash your hands before you eat bread, or you're not a devout Jew. So you have to wash your hands. Okay, but you can't find the verse. Well, no, not a verse. Not a verse. I didn't say, why did your disciples transgress the Bibles or the commandments? Okay, you're not using commandments here. No, I'm going to use the word tradition because I already know you can't find it in the Bible. I've had people ask me, where is such and such in the Bible? And I go, it's not in the Bible, it's a tradition. Oh, okay. So what is Jesus' answer? I mean, don't we have him tricked here? Why doesn't he? I mean, your guys sin. They don't even follow our traditions. But he answered, he here being Jesus, that's who they came to ask, right? They want to know Jesus. He answered and said to them, wait a minute, you're answering a question with a question. They ask, why do thy? And then you're asking, why do ye? So you're answering, no, I'm taking your question. I'm going to take your question and make your question a question for you. Oh. Why do ye transgress? So you're going to use that same verb. Yeah. And why do we transgress the tradition? Oh, no, I'm not using, I'm going to use the word commandment here. Oh, no, you're transgressing commandment. Why do ye also transgress the commandment of God by your tradition? Okay, well, you just proved a tradition goes against the Bible. You're saying that this tradition here is a sin here. Yeah. Why? Because you bypass the commandment. It ain't a commandment. It's something you made up. Like what? Well, like this washing your hand before you eat thing. We just made, I know, but a bunch of people, yes, so I'm agreeing with you. That's an opinion. And I'm agreeing with you. There's a whole bunch of people agrees with that opinion. And I'm actually agreeing with you that it's a tradition. Okay. Now I'm asking you, what about this commandment thing you got going here? Why do you also transgress the commandment of God by your tradition? And how did we transgress a commandment? By your tradition. Okay, so I just learned that's the fact that I can't prove it, and it's not a commandment, it's a tradition, and then it goes against God's teaching. Yeah. Yeah, Jesus just answered that. Now look at this Galatians 2:8. It goes with that. Beware lest, remember lest means like unless in formal English. Beware lest any man spoil you through philosophy and vain deceit. Oh yeah, we had this verse last week on a different topic. Yeah, I was looking at rudiments. Oh, since any man spoil you through philosophy and vain deceit. Oh, that's how you came up with the idea. So you came up with the idea and then your opinion and all that is from philosophy. You think it was a good idea? Well, yeah, there's the Old Testament verses that talk about seems right. Seemeth right. Seems right. Yeah, it seems right. Well, how did it become a tradition? Because it seems right. Oh, well, it's not is right, but it seems right. Oh, yeah, because it goes with this philosophy here. Oh, well, why is there a deception there, deceit? Deceit is Satan's thing. Yeah, and vanity is a man thing, right? So what we have is vain deceit. That's how I formulated, that's how I come up with the idea. It wasn't in the Bible. Came up with an idea, formed an opinion, got all y'all to agree with the opinion, and now we got ourselves a good tradition. And how'd you get the tradition? Through philosophy and vain deceit, after tradition of men. Oh, so the source of tradition is man? Yeah. Source of tradition, isn't that the guy came up with the idea and formulated an opinion? Yeah. Well, how did he come up with this tradition of men? After the rudiments of the world. Oh, so you're good at this kissing the ring deal before I walk into the building? Well, yeah, it was somebody's idea. And what is it after? Oh, it's part of the rudiments of the world. I mean, it only makes sense. The guy's a religious guy, and he's got a religious idol that he's wearing, and we have a tradition to kiss the idol. Oh, well, that's not after Christ. Well, no, not after Christ, but hey, we got a whole bunch of people that believe it. Well, I know. There you go. There's a different tradition comes from where? From these rudiments of the world. That's where I found my tradition. And it's not after Christ. Well, what is Christ? Christ was the doctrine we're going to be following to get into heaven. So you're saying forget these traditions? Yeah. Sticking with the Bible. Okay. Well, then how do I get rid of this tradition? That's my next question here. If you want to see this question, how can a tradition be eliminated? The guy has a tradition there. He wants to bring it into the church. Okay. So how can we eliminate a tradition? Well, eliminate it means that you've already embraced it. You've already implemented it. Well, yeah. Okay. Well, it's already, how are you going to eliminate it now? Well, that answer is it can't. It's too many people have too many beliefs. And those beliefs came from opinions. Those opinions are from the world. They're not from Christ. And now you can't eliminate that. Okay, well, I can prevent it. Well, yeah, tradition can be prevented. That's what we have here at Cyber Church of Christ. We prevent traditions. Someone will say, hey, why don't you do such and such there in your church? Well, because that's a tradition and we don't allow traditions. Oh, well, what happens at the place I'm going? They've implemented all these traditions. They got a whole bunch of stuff they do that ain't in the Bible. Okay, well, then what you need to do here is avoid. Instead, tradition is avoided. Would you have a example of someone had a tradition and then they avoided the tradition? Sure do. Yeah, the preacher, Paul, got recruited by our father to be a Bible teacher and to teach commandments. Yeah, so I'm going to give you one of his examples here. This is from Galatians 1, 13 and 14. Okay, well, let's start off with 13. For ye have heard of my conversation in time past in the Jews' religion. Okay, well, we're already finding out this religion, not even a good word. That means you made up something, or it's some doctrine. So can you give me a good definition of religion? I'll go, yeah, it's a doctrine with traditions. Oh. So you have a doctrine. Well, yeah, but we do a lot of things that are in the Bible. We have a lot of things we can prove, but we also have these traditions that we've implemented. Okay, so you have like this Jews religion thing. Yeah, so all right, so you're saying, so Paul says, yeah, I was with this Jews religion guy. Remember I told you about that in the past? I was with the Jews religion. And remember what I said? I said that how beyond measure I persecuted the church of God and wasted it. And there's a colon there. Well, what do you mean? Oh, well, not only was I against Christians, I was hardcore against Christians. Yeah, I made my point come across big time. Oh, yeah. Well, how are you getting that? Well, it's beyond measure. Yeah, and you were doing what? I was persecuting the church. Well, so now you went from a term called Jews religion to a thing called Church of God. That's right. Those two don't agree. I've got a Jews religion. I was in that. And also I was really good in it. I persecuted the Church of God and wasted it. There's a colon. What's the next verse say? And profited in the Jews' religion above many my equals in mine own nation, being more exceedingly zealous of the traditions of my father. Okay, so you weren't elevated because you knew the Levitical law so well. Well, no, I was in the Jews' religion. In the Jews' religion, what we had was we observed a whole bunch of days. We added some traditions that we did. Did I bring up the fact that you guys didn't wash your hands before you ate bread? Yeah, like that. So I was in that religion. And I was so good at it, I got, equals my, when you say above my many equals here, that means basically you got promoted. Yeah. By who? By the judge. I'm a Jew. That's my own nation there. Oh, but why? Because I was zealous of the traditions of my fathers. Oh, so notice here, he's actually separated Jews' religion from the church. Well, why? Well, the Jews' religion had a bunch of traditions, but it was also a temporary measure. The father says, hey, here, obey the law of Moses until I send my son. If you send my son, hear ye him. Whatever he says, that's what you're going to do. Well, some of the 10 commandments are going to stay. Yeah, like loving God. Yeah, that'll stay. Just follow the teachings of Jesus, not the traditions of my father. All right, let's move on here. Following a tradition does not lead to salvation. Isn't that the whole reason why you're doing what people call church? Aren't you actually wanting to get saved in the end and live in heaven the rest of your, what's called eternity, where your spirit's going to live? Yeah, that's what I want. Well, following a tradition is not going to lead to that. Well, then how do I get this salvation thing? Well, proven scriptures. Oh, the scriptures will tell you how to get salvation, and the scriptures will prove themselves over and over and over. How are you going to go prove that tradition? Well, I don't have anything to prove it with other than some guy wrote it down somewhere and says, okay, well, this is our tradition. So you mean you have a religion of someone's opinion that can't be proven in the real Bible? Why they come up with their own Bible and their own pamphlet? Yeah, come knocking at my door. Oh, okay, so they don't have proven scriptures? But no, they have tradition. All right, well, let's look at these 5 verses. I didn't want to separate them out. There was a lot to be said in here. 1 Peter 1. We're going to look at 17 to 21. 1 Peter 1:17. And if ye call on the Father. Well, that's interesting. What do you mean call? You're not mentioning like call on the name of the Lord, call, hear, believe, repent. Like the book or the pamphlet one of our members wrote, it talked about calling on the name of the Lord, getting into the kingdom. Yeah. Okay. So here you're saying that call on the Father? Yeah, call on the Father. Well, if you call on the Father, who without respect of persons, judges every man's work. Judges according to every man's work. Oh. Well, I was just going to be judged on my opinion of how you get into heaven. Would you share that opinion? Well, yeah, it's a tradition. Oh, yeah, the guy told me I was already saved, and I said, okay, good. I like already being saved. He goes, okay, well, that's our opinion, but now what we've done is we made a doctrine. We got a tradition, and we made doctrine and said, hey, you're already saved. Oh, okay. Well, this says here, I'm not going to already say that I'm actually going to be judged according to my work. My work's not done. I'm still breathing here on planet Earth. So my day on planet Earth is not done. And you're going to tell me I'm judged on what? Oh, my own work. Oh, every man's work. Okay. Well, what happened to this tradition, opinion, and all that? Yeah, you tell me. I'm telling you, you're going to get judged by work here. You notice a lot of these religions, you know what they go to remove? Every man's work. I go, no, Jesus did the work. He ain't got to do nothing. Oh. So since you are one that's been called by our Father, you're in the kingdom, you're going to be judged by your work. You know what the result of that is? You need to spend your day. That's what's called past the time of your sojourning. What is past the time of your sojourn? Your life. Oh, My days on planet Earth? Yeah, days on planet Earth is the passing of your time. And you're a sojourner. You're just there temporary. I'm on planet Earth temporarily. Yeah. Yeah, the real home's up here. And if you look at the scriptures, I can tell you where what these homes are and how they're defined. Most people think heaven and hell. There's actually a lake of fire in heaven. But anyway, that's you'll be judged according to your work. So what you ought to do here, since you're going to be judged in the end, is you need to practice here your time, your sojourning here in fear. Pass your time in fear. Fear what? Well, I'm going to be judged. I'm going to be judged on my work. So I thought, hey, I better do this because I'm going to be judged on that. Now, I'm going to spend my time here in fear. Spend your time on planet Earth in fear. Fear of man? Well, no, I don't fear man. That's another commandment, different commandment. Fear our Father. What he says is true, and I'm going to be judged in the end. Oh, that's how you ought to be spending your time. Verse 18, for as much as ye know that ye were not redeemed with corruptible things, as silver and gold, from your vain conversation received by tradition from your fathers. What? Yeah, it says here that you were going to be going into heaven based on the traditions of your father. That was a conversation you had, right? Well, yeah, and it's profitable. What do you mean profitable? Well, the silver and gold thing I got going on. See, that's why I got real rich while I was here on planet Earth, rich according to man. And then when I died, my family actually gave some money out and said, hey, we have a tradition. We can give money on the guy that died, and then he can get redeemed. Well, you do know that that's corruptible, huh? Well, is that your opinion? No, I saw it in 1 Peter 1:18. It says here, the silver and gold that you used as motivation, well, those are actually corruptible things. Oh. And you know how you wanted silver and gold? Yeah, how'd you get that? Well, I received it by tradition. Okay, so you didn't look up anything in the scriptures and say, hey, are we doing this right? Is this the doctrine I want to be in? No, I'm just going to do traditions from our ancestors, from the father. That's why you see this as plural, fathers, and you notice that's not a capital F. Yeah, so anyway, man came up with some stuff. Part of it had to do with silver and gold because man loves to be profited. Okay, receive traditions from your fathers. Okay, so that's how you come up with the idea. Yeah, what I'm actually doing is promoting the idea of the tradition. I wanted to make it stand out. Okay, well, if I'm not going to do the tradition of my fathers, then what am I going to be passing my time with here on planet Earth? But with the flesh, I'm reading verse 19, 1 Peter 1:19. But with the precious blood of Christ, as of a lamb without blemish and without spot. Got another colon. So you finish verse 17 with a colon. Yeah, and then you finished 18 with a semicolon. Yeah, and now you're going to 19 with a colon. Yeah, we're all stating this one sentence here. It has to be, it's a thing called judge according. And I don't want to be judged according to what? To some tradition that somebody gave me. I want to be judged on my own work. I don't want my work to be tradition. I want it to be following commandments. How? With the precious blood of Christ. That's how. So you ask somebody in Cyber Church of Christ, how is it why do you think you're getting forgiveness of sin while you're on planet Earth? Oh, because there's a precious blood of Christ. What happened? It poured forth on planet Earth after he was punctured there, after he was pierced, is what the Bible uses as a verb. after he was pierced, the water blood for it, and then the Father from heaven goes, hey, there's your sacrifice. I got your sacrifice there. The precious blood of Christ. Okay, that's a tradition. No, it's not a tradition. That's an event that happened, and I'm wanting you to just do in remembrance of me. Oh, so everything you guys do in Cyber Church of Christ is what? Following some commandment that you can look up? Yeah, we'll look it up and prove it. I mean, go ahead and look up that 1 Peter 3:15. It already says that, huh? You got to give an answer. How are you going to give an answer? You're not going to give your own answer. You're going to look it up. And that's what we have is what? We prove all things. Isn't that what this, I had a little thing here on 1 Thessalonians 5:21. Prove all things. That's what we're in the business of. Can't prove a tradition or it wouldn't be a tradition. All right. So that was verse 19. It says, hey, you're not getting saved. You're not getting this redeemed deal here by tradition. You're getting redeemed by the blood of Christ. Oh. Now who's the who? That's a pronoun. Christ. That's a noun on the table. Christ is who? Huh. So what is this? Who verily was foreordained. Okay, well, that means you got ordained, you got picked ahead of time. That's right. Well, what is this? What do you mean for? When? Oh, this before. Oh, so Jesus was ordained before the foundation of before you guys even started the creation? Yeah. Well, that's why I left that verse in there. You may not know that. All right, so verily is truthfully, he was foreordained before the foundation of the world. But you know what? Now it's come to being. That's what this manifest means. It means it came to happen, but was manifest in these last times for you, with a comma. Who was manifest? Jesus. Look, this was decided before the foundation of the world. I already decided I'm going to send my son to prove my plan before I ever sent my son, actually before I ever created the creation, before there was ever even a universe. Before there was a universe. Yeah, before the creation. Foreordained it. And then you know what's going to happen in these last times? When is this last times? Well, last times is now. Once the sacrifice is done, what sacrifice? One I just mentioned. Father sacrificing his son, him getting on the cross and blood poured on the planet as a witness for us. And now he said, okay, you're in your last times. I'm not resending him. I'm not going back to reprove my plan. Plan's been proved. We got the New Testament written. It's solid. There's no adding and subtracting from it. It's no who shall add or who shall subtract from the Bible is an abomination. Why? Well, isn't that what tradition is? Isn't it? Because I've added a bunch of stuff. Yeah. Yeah, that's where it came from. Well, no wonder Cyber Church of Christ, we don't even do tradition. We'll find out some tradition, then we reject it. No, I got to go tell somebody else where that is in the Bible. Someone will tell me something. I go, where is that in the Bible? Well, it's in there somewhere. Well, you can't tell me where it's somewhere. You have to tell me exactly. I'm a Bible teacher. And what I just heard, I've never seen in the Bible. So you're obligated now to tell me where that is in the Bible, and I can go show the students, hey, look at this. Okay, well, you can't find it in the Bible. You know why you couldn't find what you just told me in the Bible? Because what you told me was this big tradition thing. Oh, and I spotted that it was tradition. Why? Because I've actually learned a lot of commandments, and the thing you just told me ain't a commandment. So I immediately put it in what? The tradition pile. Did you notice your buddy on that other church down the street has a different tradition than you got? Yeah. So you have traditions that don't even match the other guy's tradition. You got to come up with your own. Well, yeah, it's because of this, multiple people thing. So there's multiple people didn't believe in my tradition. They believe in the other guy's tradition. And you guys at Cyber Church of Christ? Oh, I just believe the Bible. Well, if you don't show it's in the Bible, and we're going, oh no, that's just some guy's opinion. Oh. So before the world was, now I've made it manifest. I've actually sent the Christ. Okay, and then what does that do? Who by him do believe in God. Okay, well, who is this who? This who was Jesus. Yeah, this who is man. Follow, when I say man, I mean mankind. Don't think it's gender. When I say man on my lessons that I'm teaching, think human. Don't think of man, male. This is man. Man who by him do believe in God. Hey, that's us. We're the ones that do believe in God. What else do you believe? Well, we believe they raised him up from the dead. Who's the him? Well, the Christ. We had that as our noun, and that's what this hymn and this hymn is going to be. See, if you're studying Bible with me, I would make you tell me all the pronouns. Pronouns, the Bible's heavy pronouns. And it's your job studying the Bible. We'll find out what the noun is. That's part of learning. So you've got a whole bunch of pronouns right here in this one verse. Yeah, I do. Who, this is us, by him do believe in God, raised him, our Christ, from the dead, and gave him who? Christ. That's who we're talking about. And who gave him glory? God gave him glory. His Father. Okay, and why is that? So that your faith and hope might be in God. Okay, well, why did you bring that up? Do you have faith in a tradition? Oh, no. Do you have hope in a tradition? Well, the tradition is embedded with faith and hope that the tradition's right. Right, but not at Cyber Church of Christ. We're not going, hey, no, our hope's in the scriptures. You show us where the scriptures are. That's where we hope that we get saved in the end. And what do you mean might? Your faith and hope might be in God. Well, because we're going to continue to study and learn and make sure that what we do in Cyber Church of Christ, avoid traditions. We're going to make sure that we don't have any traditions in our worship. We're going to worship in spirit and in truth. And then we would have to do what? Prove all things. We're back to that. All right, well, let's just summarize. The lesson's a little long today, but that's all right. I didn't need to get my point across in this tradition. So let's summarize today's lesson. There are more scriptures on tradition. This is just what I'm covering today. Traditions exist because man desires to add or remove tenets of the doctrine, which become the traditions of man, which becomes religion. Wow. All right, so you didn't like you do like the doctrines in the Bible. Yeah, I like the doctrines in the Bible, just it doesn't have everything. Okay, so you're saying God left something out? Well, no, well, the brother came up with a good idea. And we said, hey, that's a good idea. That's an opinion there. And then we all go, man, that's a good opinion. We have the same opinion. Okay. We're just going to do that every week. Okay, well, but that goes against the tenets of the doctrine. Isn't the tenets like the mainstay, the main thing that happens? Isn't that what that word is? Yeah. Okay. So your traditions, you know what happened with them? They became religion. And do you think religion's a good thing? Well, no. Paul just said, hey, I was in a religion. I'm teaching truth now. Well, where'd you get that? I'm up here when we were looking, remember? Galatians 1:13 and 14. There's more to it there in Galatians. But you'll see where I know I'm leaving religion and getting into the real deal. I'm going to obey the doctrine, prove all things. All right, so your tradition, what happens is you either added or removed something. Why else would you have a tradition unless you've added or removed something? Okay, which became tradition, which became religion. And the guy asked me while I was in public the other day, what's your religion? Well, I don't really have a religion. I teach Bible, and I have Bible people, and we all have the same belief, or we believe you ought to just prove the Bible, do what the Bible says, and we reject traditions. What kind of religion is that? Well, it's not really a religion. Religion means I've either added or removed something out of the doctrine. That's how it became a religion. That becomes a religion. So you're saying most of, no, I'm not saying, it's an observation that the bogus religions in the world have what? Traditions, what they're based them on. All right, so let's look at this last statement. The church, that's us, does not adhere to, we don't adhere to, we're not sticking with that, huh? Isn't that what adhere to? Nor allow a tradition. You know, you guys ought to, you guys at Cyber Church of Christ, you ought to add this deal that my buddy down the street does. Well, where's the verse? Well, it's not a verse, but it's a good idea. Everybody likes it. Okay, well, we don't allow them. You're talking about tradition? Yeah, we don't allow traditions. Oh, traditions obscure or eliminate sound doctrine. See, we're commanded to have sound doctrine. Oh, you know, plus like Second Timothy 2:15, study to show yourself proved unto God, a workman that needed not to be ashamed, rightly dividing the word of truth. How are you going to rightly divide the word of truth if you're looking at tradition? You can't. Okay. So the scriptures were given by the Father. They're all there. They're in summary. That he has the whole. You don't need to add or remove it. And then you're insulting the Father. You're saying, you know what? You know what you left out of the Bible? This thing that I'm adding. And you know what? I got people agree with me. They agree with that opinion. Well, yeah, it's because you guys went in and added and removed. You didn't want to believe the truth. What does John 4:24 say? God is a spirit, and they that worship him must worship him in spirit and in truth. And you can't even prove a tradition. And here we are, we're going to study and what? Study and learn, do the Father's will. We're going to prove all things. And you know what we're going to do? Just for you, we're going to give you an answer. You have a question about the hope that lies within us. 1 Peter 3:15. What are we going to do? We're going to give you an answer. And your answer is tradition? No. We don't have tradition answers. We have scripture answers. So we'll show you where it is in the, then you can go show your cousin. Hey, go look at this in Corinthians. How are you going to show your cousin our tradition? You just have to say, oh, Cyber Church of Christ has this particular tradition, and all you are is talking. You don't have anything to show them. Okay. Anyway, I'm hoping that you got something out of today's lesson. But if your so-called church or religion is based on traditions, then this lesson should be a warning to you. Now, if you want to get with someone who doesn't do traditions, that's us. So we're Cyber Church of Christ. And you can look us up. We got an email address if you want. You can ask us anything at any time. But anyway, try to get away from this tradition. And how would you know? Come study the Bible, find out is that tradition or is that a commandment? Anyway, I hope that that's going to be the end of today's lesson. I hope you got something out of it and actually just want to learn more. And if you're watching our YouTube video, watch some more of them. All of them all agree. Why? Because they don't have any traditions in them. They all have scriptures, all have proven scriptures. You can look at any topic you want. You see it come from Cyber Church of Christ. What's going to have the scriptures there to back up everything? It's going to avoid traditions. We don't do opinions, don't do traditions. Anyway, I hope you have a great day, and that we've helped you spur your imagination, get you learning, and learn that everything you need is in the Bible. Hope you have a great day. We're Cyber Church of Christ.